Hey guys, this is my hair tutorial for big, soft, bouncy curls. It really isn't difficult to achieve despite what some of you may think. It's all about the little tweaking tips and techniques that I'm about to share with you. So if you want to learn how to recreate these curls, please keep watching. So to start, you want to section off your hair. There's no real way to do this. Everyone's technique can be different. You just want to throw your hair up. I sectioned off my hair just above my ears. Brush through this thoroughly to remove any of the knots. You can use the heat protectants to protect your ends, obviously because you're going to be using a hot tool. And you really want to take 1-inch sections really. That's sort of what everyone's guidelines are on YouTube, and I don't really know what a 1-inch section is. I just sort of take a chunk of hair that I feel is appropriate for the size of my barrel. So I just want to take my curling iron and I want to wrap the hair going away from my face. And you'll obviously do the opposite on the right hand side of my head also. Until you get something like so. If your hair doesn't retain a curl well, you can absolutely scoop it back up into a shape and bobby pin it. But my hair pretty much can retain it really well, so I won't have to do that, thankfully. And you want to try and get the curling iron as close to your scalp as possible, without burning yourself, obviously. So now you want to switch to the opposite side of the head, again taking a 1-inch section. So at this point, once you have done the bottom layer of your hair, you want to take your hairspray. I'm using Tresemme. This is my favourite one to use. I feel like it is the best. So you just want to gradually and just quite slightly run your fingers through your hair to separate the curls. You don't want to take the shape out of them, but you definitely want to sort of loosen them up to look a little bit more natural. Now you want to release another section of hair. If you have quite thick hair like mine, you'll probably need to make the sort of layers in your hair a lot smaller, and you should try and get them as even as possible when you separate your hair for a new layer. So again, you want to split your hair into two. And you want to sort of find where the new straightened hair is, and you want to separate it from the previously curled hair. You want to make sure that you get all of it, because I've done this so many times where, as you can see, I have a random bit of straight hair mixed in with the curls, and then I think I have it all covered and then I don't. So you want to take your time with the middle section, because it's probably the one section as well as the top layer that is going to be most seen. So you definitely want to take your time and make sure that all the sections are curled. And I've just upped the temperature on my curler to 210 degrees because I just felt like 200 was taking too long. So I'm just finished coming to the end of the middle section on the left, and I feel like your front pieces should be the ones that you give the most attention to, and they should be the most curly. I don't mean ribbon curls where they bounce all the way back up here. I just mean that I think they are the ones that get the most focus on your face. So it probably took me about 5 or 6 minutes to do that middle section. And when you get to the tail end like this, I know sometimes I always do this as well. To protect my fingers, instead of burning them, I try and lift the ends up, but then it doesn't really curl the ends. So try and make sure you wrap the tail end as close as you possibly can to the actual barrel without hurting yourself. So at this point, I'm going to take my teasing comb and I'm just going to ever so lightly brush through the curls. Remember, they're still hot, so you don't want to brush them too much, or they will absolutely lose their shape. So just till you get to a nice fluffy sort of curl like that. Again, lightly running your fingers through it. So another thing I just wanted to add about when you're curling your hair, I know a lot of people say that you should curl it in one direction and then do the opposite, then one, then the other. I understand the logic behind that, and I understand completely that when you do curl your hair all in the one direction, that parts of it can absolutely all mold together kind of, and you're just left with one massive curl. If you break your curls with your fingers, you won't have that problem. But I just wanted to touch on that because I know some people do actually ask me questions about it, and I've kind of had to think about it for a while, but my recommendation anyway is just break it up with your fingers gently and use lots of hairspray just so that it doesn't sort of become one giant curl. So moving on to the top layer, this is without a doubt the most important one. This is where all the focus is on your hair. This is the top layer which gets the most attention. What you want to do is you want to find your parting. Mine is always on the right. And before you start, you want to backcomb the layers on your head of the top section. So the reason you don't do it afterwards is because the curl has already been formed, and then when you go to lift up your curl like I've just done, you're going to completely bend it out of shape and it's just not going to look good. So the best way to backcomb or tease is to spray a little bit of hairspray on the roots, and you just want to push down gently with the hair. So once that layer and section of hair has been backcombed, you want to ever so gently smooth it back over. And another reason you want to keep your hairspray only on the roots is because if any of you have ever tried to curl or straighten, but pretty much the emphasis on curling, if you try and curl over hair that does already have hairspray on it, you will know that it goes completely hard and bent out of shape, and it's an awful looking curl. So again, you always want to work from the back. So keep it as high as possible. And I would normally tend to do smaller sections on the top. And for those of you who have really short layers, I think curled hair looks better with short layers in my opinion. I don't really have that many, a lot of mine have grown out, but if you have short layers sort of nose length, when you curl them back, they frame your face sort of from your forehead down to just under your eyes, and it looks gorgeous in my opinion. I'm always tempted to cut some layers back into my hair, but it just took me so long to grow them all out. So this is what I mean by if you have short layers. The curl will start going back from about here and will look gorgeous. So you just want to lightly brush out that section there, and you want to so as you can see, that side of the hair is completely curled. There isn't really too many secrets and tips to curling hair. I know people sort of feel like, well, what is the ultimate secret? But there actually isn't one. It's just little tips along the way, like curling your hair all in the one direction, starting from the back. Some people, once the lower sections of hair have been curled, they pin them out of the way. I feel like that just makes the hair lose its shape, so I don't bother with that. And things like, probably the most important tip actually is backcombing your hair before you start curling, because if I was to start going to try and lift and separate my hair now, I'm just going to ruin the curls that I've just done and the ones underneath. And remember, the longer your hair, the more weight is going to drag the curls out of it, so your curls aren't going to stay in for as long, opposed to if you had short hair. again, brush out that curl. So once you finish the top layer of hair, you just want to again direct it sort of towards the back to cover up any gaps. Again, a final spritz of hairspray, and that is pretty much it for this tutorial. It really isn't that difficult at all, despite what some people think when they first see it. Curls are sort of the one hairstyle that people always really want to achieve themselves, and it really isn't that difficult once you understand how to do it. So I hope any tips or techniques that I've shared with you in this video have helped, and you will be able to achieve a look like this as well. So that has been it for this tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoy this look. If you do recreate it, be sure to hashtag me now on Instagram or post it, a video response down below. I'm always intrigued and excited to see what you guys come up with. And that is it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and until the next time, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.